A very good morning, dear students. So, in the previous classes, we have learned about the working of constructor and destructor in inheritance, and then we have seen different types of inheritance. Okay, so let us quickly revise what we have learned in previous classes. Okay, so in the previous classes, we have seen the working of constructor. Okay, in inheritance. So, how this constructor works? See, this constructor always you can say always the base class constructor is to call first, then it will go to the derived class. Suppose if you have more than one base classes, then the first derived classes will be called first, then the second one, and then the derived class one. Okay, and then for working of destructor is like it will always will work exactly opposite of constructor. That means the destructor for derived class will be called first, and then base class destructor will be called. Okay, and then we have seen different types of constructors, say single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and then hierarchical inheritance. Okay, so if you remember, see, these are the five types of inheritance. Let us quickly revise this. Single inheritance, that means there will be only one base classes only, and one derived classes. This is the programming example. Then you can see here multiple inheritance means what? There will be multiple base classes. That means more than one base classes, but only a single derived classes. This was the example. I think these things are clear to you all. Then we have seen multi-level inheritance. What happened in terms of multi-level inheritance? See, from one base classes we are deriving a class B, and then from that derived class again we are deriving another derived class. That means for class A, this class B is the base class. Okay, and for class B, C is the base class. This is known as transitive, like we do in mathematics. Transitive in nature, from one to another, from another to another one. Okay, and this was the example. Now let's move with hierarchical inheritance. See, I'm moving a bit faster because these things already we have completed in the previous classes. Okay, let us quickly revise. In terms of hierarchical inheritance, what happens? Just remember like this: hierarchical inheritance is opposite of multiple inheritance. Multiple means what? More than one base classes and a single derived classes. But in terms of hierarchical, this is opposite. Only a single base class, but multiple what you can say derived classes. This was the example. And hybrid inheritance. Hybrid means what? Hybrid inheritance means the mixture of previous four types of inheritance. Previous four types of inheritance means what? If in a class, if we have like uh, single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance, then you can say this is the example of hybrid inheritance. And previously I ask you all to skip the previous diagram. This is the fresh diagram for hybrid inheritance. Okay, so in the last classes that diagram was by mistakenly copied from hierarchical inheritance. So this is the proper example of hybrid inheritance. As you can see here, from class Z to E, this is the example of single inheritance, and from F to B, from B to A and C, and F to E. So you can see here this portion is the example of what? Hierarchical inheritance. Okay, so like I said in the previous classes, that today we are going to focus on the practical portion of the inheritance. Okay, we'll see different types of what you can say different types of inheritance one by one. Okay, let us quickly uh, create a class. Okay, and we are for now we are going to focus on single inheritance. That means see, we are going to create a class called arithmetic. Basically in arithmetic, what we can do, we can do addition, we can do subtraction, we can do multiplication. Okay, so for now what we will do, we are going to add just two numbers. Very simple programming. Just we are going to see how this will work. Okay, this inheritance, or you can say how we can inherit practically. Theoretically I have shown you, okay, how it works, but now I am going to show you how practically these things happen. Okay, for that, just create a class, say arithmetic. Okay, create the class, and here you can create, you have to create two variables, say uh, two variable means suppose two numbers, okay, because we are going to add two numbers, right? So for addition of two number you need two variable, right? So for that you have to declare two variable. So that variable, what we're going to do, we are going to declare under protected section. Why? I'll tell you later. So protected section, under protected section we are going to create two variable, integer number one and number two. Okay, so then we have to read this value. Okay, so for that, see, member function always we used to declare under public section, as the public members are visible to all. Okay, so we are going to create the create a member function which will read the variable number one and number two. Okay, so in that case, read value. Okay, read value. So here we are going to read the value, enter number one, say okay, then see in number one. Let us copy this part. Okay, so this time you have to read the number two, and then here it will be number two. Okay, we are doing like this. Okay, now our uh, next thing is to create a member function called addition of two number. Okay, how we are going to add this number. Okay, that for that I'm not going to create here. Okay, we are going to create in a derived class. That means we are going to create another class, say class suppose add. Okay, class add, and this derived class we are going to inherit from what? From arithmetic. Okay, from arithmetic. How? Publicly. So see, publicly. Okay, arithmetic. As you by now you all understood the meaning of this public, as I have already explained many times regarding this access specifier. If you derive, see, this is derived class and this is base class. That means what? This derived class we are inheriting from base class. That means base class is here. That means what? Base class member will be available to the derived class. Okay, so this number one and number two we are declaring under protected section. Why? If you declare this number one and number two under private section, then this number one and number two, okay, the private members are not inheritable at all. That means inherit derived class में ये inherit होके नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि ये अंडर प्राइवेट सेक्शन होगा तब. अब यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने प्रोटेक्टेड के अंदर डिराइव किया है, इन डिक्लेयर किया है. इसका मतलब ये हुआ दिस विल बी इनहेरिटेड टू द डिराइव क्लास आल्सो. ओके, दैट मीन्स व्हाट? इफ यू डिक्लेयर दिस, if you inherit the base class as publicly, that means public members will be coming to the public section and protected member will be coming to the protected section, but private we cannot. Okay, but if you derive the base class as, sorry, if you inherit the derived class from base class as protectedly, then public and protected members will be coming to the protected section of the derived class. So this I'll show you with the help of practical example only. Theoretically I have already explained you many times. Now let us focus on this topic only. So see, now we are inheriting the base class. That means what? This number one and number two and this member function, these things are already available under this section already. Okay, that means what? We need to create a logic for performing addition. Okay, suppose we are declaring a member function say integer add, simple add, okay। इसका टाइप हम लोगों ने इंटीजर ही रखा है क्योंकि हम लोग यहाँ पे क्या करेंगे, रिटर्न करेंगे। रिटर्न मीन्स व्हाट, जस्ट वी आर गोइंग टू ऐड नंबर 1 प्लस नंबर 2, okay, number 1 and number 2. Now our job is to create the object. See, for which class, see, you can see here this is one class and this add is another class. So we are going to create the object for derived class. Let us see how this work, okay। So add suppose a1, okay। So this time we are creating the object for derived class. Now a1 dot, we have to call the read value, okay। See, object is for derived class, but we are calling the base class member function, and this is possible. Why? Because we are inheriting. That means what, these members are already available here also. That means what, this class arithmetic is having two member and one member function, but this derived class addition, he also will have these two data member and this read value member function. Along with these things, this addition, this add class will also have the addition of this add member function. This member function is his own member function. Along with this, he will have this member also, because we are inheriting from arithmetic, okay। And that is why it is possible we are creating object for this and we are calling this base class member function, okay। Now in order to display the value, what we have to do, we have to display the value, right? So for that, what you can do, see out, or you can do one thing, you can declare here another variable, say integer result, okay। Now result equal to a1 dot addition, right? Addition, this one also you can do. Now you can do display here the sum of two number will be equal to the sum is what, अंदर the sum value कहाँ पे है, रिजल्ट में है, तो हम लोग क्या करेंगे, रिजल्ट में करेंगे, ठीक है। That's all. Save it and now run the programming. So one error is given here. Let us see the error. यहाँ पे बोल रहा है कि error integer add is private, add function. Oh yes, sorry. You can see here. See, I have not defined here type like here public and protected. That means what? By default, this is private. You can see here the error. Yeah, that's good. That's good. You should see this error, how these things happen. So as you can see here, this is a private members function. Okay, that means this you cannot access from outside world. Error is given. So in order to get access, you have to declare it under public section. That I missed out. Okay, done. Now let's run the program again. Again one error is given here. Sorry, I have given here semicolon, which is not necessary. So प्रैक्टिकल करने से सबका मतलब जितना भी डाउट है तब पूरा क्लियर हो जाएगा, ठीक है। Now you can see here this member function we are calling. You can see here enter the value. That means the compiler is accessing this base class, but what we did, we created the object for derived class, and from derived class we are getting access. Why? Because we have inherited. This is the example of single inheritance. You can see here a single base class, a single derived class. Okay, so enter the number 1, say you are giving here 12, enter number 2, you are giving 34. You can see here the sum of two number is 46. Clear? I hope it is clear to you all. So how this inheritance is working. Now let us create let us define this number 1 and number 2 as private. ओके प्रोटेक्टेड देने से हम लोग का रिजल्ट आ रहा है, सबको समझ में आ रहा है ना? यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं दिस नंबर 1 एंड नंबर 2 ये जो वेरिएबल है ये हम लोगों ने डिक्लेयर किया है अंडर प्रोटेक्टेड सेक्शन, एंड ये अरिथमेटिक क्लास का और ओनली एक मेंबर फंक्शन लिया है दैट इज रीड वैल्यू, ये पब्लिक के अंदर दिया है। तो पब्लिक का मतलब क्या है? दिस एनीवन कैन गेट एक्सेस। प्रोटेक्टेड मीन्स ऑल्सो दिस कैन बी इनहेरिटेबल, दैट मीन्स ये मेंबर वहां पे जाएगा बट उसका जो प्रोटेक्टेड सेक्शन होगा वहां पे जाएगा। बट इफ यू डिक्लेयर दिस नंबर 1 एंड नंबर 2, यहाँ पे सपोज मैंने डिक्लेयर किया है एज प्राइवेटली। प्राइवेटली डिक्लेयर करने से क्या होगा? ये नंबर 1 एंड नंबर 2 ये इनहेरिटेबल नहीं होता है। बट लेट अस सी वेदर इट वर्क्स और नॉट। ओके some error is given here, you can see here. So let's run this. You can see here error is given here in line number 7. Integer arithmetic number 1 is private. Again you can see here integer arithmetic number 2 is private. You can see here this is what scope resolution operator, means हम लोग बाहर से एक्सेस कर रहा है to the base class arithmetic, and अरिथमेटिक का जो प्राइवेट मेंबर है, प्राइवेट मेंबर में हम लोग एक्सेस कर रहे हैं बाहर से, which is not allowed at all. This private members is only visible or you can say only available. मतलब ये जो मेंबर है, प्राइवेट मेंबर है, ये मेंबर ओनली उसी क्लास के अंदर एग्जीक्यूट होगा, मतलब इसके बाहर वो एग्जीक्यूट नहीं होगा। तो एग्जीक्यूट कैसे होगा? If you, because we in every organization or you can say for every classes we might have some private data. okay, प्राइवेट डाटा होने से हम लोग इसको एग्जीक्यूट कैसे करेंगे? हाँ, इसका भी तरीका है, हम लोग डायरेक्टली एक्सेस नहीं कर सकते हैं, बट वी कैन एक्सेस विद द हेल्प ऑफ मेंबर फंक्शन ऑफ दैट क्लास, क्योंकि ये एक ही क्लास का है। अगर हम लोग कॉल करेंगे रीड वैल्यू को तो वो कॉल हो जाएगा, है कि नहीं? सो फॉर दैट यू हैव टू क्रिएट ऑब्जेक्ट फॉर दिस क्लास। ओके, अगर उसका क्लास का ऑब्जेक्ट होगा तो वो यहाँ पे एक्सेस कर सकते हैं, एंड देन इनडायरेक्टली दे विल एक्सेस टू द प्राइवेट सेक्शन। ओके, बट in this example we are creating the object for derived class which is totally outside of the class. Okay, so in that case that this members is not, मैंने बहुत बार बोल चुका हूँ कि प्राइवेट मेंबर्स कभी भी इनहेरिट होके सेकंड क्लास में नहीं जाएगा। अब यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं हम लोगों ने इनहेरिट किया है और यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने नंबर 1 एंड नंबर 2 यूज किया है, दैट मीन्स हम लोग ये एक्सेस नहीं कर सकता है, दैट इज वाई हम लोग को एरर मिल रहा है। बट अब मान लीजिए कि यहाँ पे इसका जो काम है एडिशन, अगर हम लोग एडिशन यहाँ पे ही कर लेंगे, ठीक है, यहाँ पे सपोज मैंने एडिशन कर लिया है, देन इट विल वर्क। आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू यू ऑल। नाउ व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू, आई विल शो यू। ओके, तो इसका जो मेंबर फंक्शन है ये हम लोग यहाँ पे नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है। ओके, और मे बी I'll show you this example with the help of another example in the next video lecture. Okay, so okay, for now we stop it. You keep it as protected only, ठीक है। एटलीस्ट आप सभी लोगों को ये समझ में आया होगा कि ये नंबर 1 एंड नंबर 2 हम लोगों ने प्रोटेक्टेड के अंदर क्यों दिया है, क्योंकि ये हम लोगों ने इनहेरिट कर रहा है एंड ये नंबर 1 एंड नंबर 2 हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे यूज कर रहा है, और ये अगर ये यूज करना है तो इसको इनहेरिट, ये ऊपर से इसको इनहेरिट करके लेके आना है। अगर इनहेरिट करके लेके आना है तो हम लोग ये नंबर 1 एंड नंबर 2 प्राइवेट के अंदर डिक्लेयर नहीं कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि प्राइवेट मेंबर्स दैट मींस डाटा मेंबर एंड मेंबर फंक्शन कुछ भी हो वो हम लोग डिराइव क्लास में इनहेरिट करके लेके नहीं आ सकता है, not at any cost. Okay, so in order to inherit these members you have to declare those member under protected section. Okay, and you can see here for this program this is the example of single inheritance. How we can say, see, only a single base class and only a from that base class we are inheriting a derived class, that is addition. Okay, and we have in the main function we have created the object for derived class, but we are not creating object for base class. That means arithmetic के लिए हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट नहीं किया है. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं हम लोगों ने ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट किया है डिराइव क्लास का. अब डिराइव क्लास का ऑब्जेक्ट को लेके हम लोगों ने बेस क्लास का जो मेंबर है रीड वैल्यू को हम लोग कॉल कर रहे हैं. ये पॉसिबल है. व्हाई? बिकॉज ये हम लोगों का वो जो वैल्यू है रीड वैल्यू वो इनहेरिट होकर यहाँ भी आ रहा है. दैट इज वाई. ओके, और ये जो रिजल्ट हम लोगों ने डिक्लेयर किया है, सो हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे इफ यू डोंट वांट टू डिक्लेयर लाइक दिस यू कैन डायरेक्टली डिक्लेयर लाइक हियर द if you don't want to declare this result value directly you can do here a1 dot addition. Okay, so this is the example of single inheritance. I'm going to create another video lecture that will be based on multi-level inheritance and multiple inheritance. Okay, till then you just go through this video lecture, you try to understand the concept. If you are still having problem, then you can call me. Okay, with this I'll stop for now. Meet you in the next video lecture. Thank you.